Welcome to TradeTheMBI.com. This is John. This report is for the 28th of July. And we talked about it yesterday. The expectation was that given what we were seeing from the MBI white readings, we might have a retrace back to the ABM yellow. And with cyan still below green on the DOC, we were still well within that uptrend modality, so there really wasn't anything to be shocked or concerned about. And guess what? We hit the ABM yellow. I think actually we went just a fraction below. 64, 67 was the ABM, and bounced off that. And now we're moving back up from there. So again, this is that rotation. What's more interesting about this, though, is on these down days, we're finding the volume to be much larger. And we'll see it on the 5K because with our tick charts, you get much larger size on these down days and much smaller size on the up days. That's not as healthy as you would hope for. And something that we'll definitely be looking at going forward. Now, the NASDAQ move was much steeper, as was the recovery. But again, riding with that white MBI, not as big a deal yet as long as you have the rising gold and magenta, and particularly magentas over yellow. It's not so much the case on the NASDAQ, which is why it was weaker. You can also see the difference here. It was a clean DOC spread as that started. Now, of course, shorts are falling off because they were happy with that and covered within it. It seems like short presence, happens to be one of those quick hit situations and then fade out of it. They're not really prepared to do it. And of course, with the new mask mandates, the expectation would be for slower economic activity, at least in those places that are actually going to adhere to it. I think that you have a significant number of places that just are going to refuse because, the science was pretty clear on this from various studies that have already proven the ineffectiveness, but it's not really designed for that. It's about slowing economic activity and reducing movements, and that will slow things down, which will provide more need or justification for higher deficit spending. From a gold standpoint, again, that's also de-inflationary, so not really doing anything to promote gold there. Euro, slight rise because theoretically with the increased mass mandate, you're going to have slower growth. The irony there is you're a couple week or so away from the green pass taking effect in Europe, which is going to effectively kill a lot of travel and also slow economic activity, which has already been depressed in Europe beyond the U.S. The U.S. will be one of the few growing economies for the year. It's simply because plenty of those red states just have refused to do lockdowns and things that others have chosen. From a Bitcoin standpoint, it was interesting because you had the hype of the whole discussion with Musk and everything, and then you started to get some reports of places like Binance and that reducing the amount of money new accounts can take out from like 2 Bitcoin in the coming weeks. You're going to only be able to take out 0.06 Bitcoin per day. Interesting. It's because a lot of these are moving towards more regulatory, where you have to prove special identification. So the idea of the independence of being unknown with trading cryptocurrencies is sort of fading away as governments say, you want to operate, we're going to get our tax bill. That's the way it works. Again, we're still hovering between, again, same areas, the 34,000. Now we're at the peak of the 39. If based on the 39, there's room for it to explode higher. And you can see with the readings, nothing stopping that from taking place at all. Here we go from the intraday. Now this was the other day, 2 days ago. We talked about the positive extremes that were created throughout the day. Started over here, and then we ended up with another series on this move. Those got filled back pretty quickly in the pre-market. The much broader one, it took a little bit longer, but it was satisfied by midday. And quite interesting because you had the dips, we had the nice little buys, and every time right around that 50%, we were getting the white magenta over white MBI over magenta, and then additional breakout above leading to further declines. But then we would get the turnaround signals, and they were just little short pops. And then here you go, white MBI again, breaks down, even if you're conservative. I mean, it stayed for a couple of bars so that you could literally get the clean dips that would go. And that happened repetitively. So it was one of those dips, buy it. And it's kind of like one of those where they build an average weighted price as things move. And then we got a little bit deeper move as some more stops were hit. And they sucked up that volume until a little bit later. We had the little pop-up, but at this point, magenta staying well above red and green. So you really get a clear idea of it when you see the differences between when it breaks out and the magenta yellow continue to fall versus the white MBI breaks out and magenta then pivot back up. And it happens pretty close to that entry point, and then from there you know that they've got the shorts on the wrong side of that one, and then it usually takes off. And that put us, well, literally right where we are, which is the middle of an upswing right now. And again, the volatility range is still doing exactly what we expect. Was a little more active the other day with that down, up and down. But even if you played the broader drop of it, still very effective. As always, though, I will continue to update details on what charts on the Skype chat and be sending out indicator renewals for August so that we'll be ready for the hot summer, which could be a little bit more dynamic than what we've seen given some of the things that are starting to build. As always, though, trade well. Talk to you later.